didn't quite mean to start this video out with this object here, but I just noticed that I've been stepping on this along with other debris because my house is a death trap. And pen boxes such as this always sort of reminded me of caskets. And this one was a pen and pencil set, as you can see, or dip pen and pencil set from probably 1880 or so. And to me, a pen in a box is like looking at a dead person in a casket because they're not moving around, they're not saying anything, they're not doing anything. But anyway, I'm glad that I did not step on this with all 240 pounds of me. It seems to have survived, I don't know how many days or hours or weeks on the floor, but anyway, I'll put it back where it belongs. Okay, back with dead people. So I'm a member of the Boston chapter of the Urban Sketchers organization, and it's a group of, I don't know, thousands and thousands of people. Almost every major city has a chapter, and the idea is you and your fellow drawers, sketchers in that city go out every week or every 2 weeks, depending on which city you're in, and one of the administrators picks a location, and you and they and everyone else in the group is invited to go there at a particular day at a particular time, and they draw for 2 hours or 3 hours, depending, again, on your chapter. And the Boston chapter, being that this is Boston, has so many beautiful places to visit, including Mount Auburn Cemetery. So that's where the drawing dead people comes in. Though I didn't see any dead people, I saw the monuments over which their body, monuments that describe the dead person's life, or at least their name and when they were born and when they died. And it's fun. I just was there yesterday, and I've been there probably 10 times with the group in past years. We usually go twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. So I'm going to show you some of the drawings I did, and you're going to like it. Believe you me, my mother would say. So I'll start with yesterday. I did one drawing with a pen, which is right here. And keep this in mind. In fact, I'll put this to the side because these little 3 tombstones I've drawn many times before. It's a huge cemetery. There's thousands of dead people and their monuments there. But I tend to gravitate maybe to certain kinds of monuments and certain kinds of light. I usually go to these places with a thought of what I want to draw or what medium I want to use. And yesterday I sharpened a bunch of Prismacolor pencils, and that's what I drew with. So let me show you, in order of them being completed, how I did it. So I walked course, you can't see the whole thing. I walked, I don't know, maybe a block into the cemetery, and the Mount Auburn Cemetery is very hilly, and it's covered with trees, and so the sun was way over here, up that way, and the sun's beams were hitting the monuments and the trees, and then there was an area of no foliage where this light was illuminating the ground and the little head of the statue here and the top of the base of the statue. And so you had this sort of view, and I love that. Walking this way just a little tiny bit, I drew the same view, but you see the light is hitting the side of the thing, rather in the side that it's lighted, you can't see because it's on the other side of this. So you have two views of sort of the same scene. And I think I would have used more black Prismacolor pencil, but I only had like this much of a Prismacolor pencil, so I was using it sparingly. Then I moved, what was the third one I drew? This was the third one I drew. This is a monument here with the name Roberts. Remember that? And then there was this big tree of some sort here, and it was casting its shadow on the ground and then up the side of this thing. So it's the zigzaggy lines of shadows that I liked. And then every once in a while you'd see specks of white, bright light hitting, the obelisk here in the distance, or the tops or the sides of a tombstone. So you had the sparkle of electric white light coming. I tend rarely to draw a thing. I draw the light or the shadows or the shape. I rarely look at something and say, I'm going to draw this tombstone. I don't do that. I draw this group of tombstones, not because they're tombstones, but because of these three zig, zig, zig bits of light that's hitting the same spot on each of the three tombstones. So then I went, then I went here, and the light again was coming from this side now, casting a shadow. So you had these two vases, and they were casting oval shadows underneath them. And it was this area of dark, this weird shape of dark, that made me stop right there and sit my fat ass down on the ground, where I brought a little camp chair with me, a little stool height chair. And I sat my butt down and I drew first the dark, then I went in with some white, and then back with the dark and light, dark. And here's 3-4 tombstones in a row, ding, 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 with the little highlights at the top. And it's just a beautiful place. You can treat these monuments as if they were actually people in a crowd or buildings in a cityscape. They're just so amazing. Just the degree of design that went into the monuments. A lot of them are Victorian. That was sort of the height of the celebration of dead people. Then I did this one. This is clearly a modern monument. This big orb. It's maybe 5 feet in diameter, maybe a little bit bigger. And it's resting on 4, I don't know if they were, I couldn't quite see. The light was sort of coming. I mean, you can see most of this is in shadow or shade. And so I didn't really see any details highlighted except for that little corner right there, that little bing. And this is the sky. There's trees and there's little areas here that are bingy that are leaves that are reflecting the light. Here it's on the grass. So there's this big tree right here. This is a tree trunk. And there's another tree trunk behind there. And so again, I was drawing, accidentally, I was drawing a tombstone, but I was actually drawing the light and the shadows. That's what made me smile. Moving further, I went just a few feet down the road was this thing. And I sat my fat ass down because I loved it because of this vertical line. You had the monument, and then you had the shadow of the monument. And there's the sun. It was almost at the point of the obelisk. So it was this vertical line that made me stop. Not the monument, not the shadow, the vertical line with the dot of light. So I stopped, sat my fat butt down and drew this. Then I walked over and found another urban sketcher, group of 3 urban sketchers that were all drawing the same scene. And I asked one of them if they had a pencil sharpener. So I sharpened, they did, and I sharpened my black pencil again. And then I walked a few 20 feet where, no, 200 feet, where I found another urban sketcher sitting on some steps drawing maybe the same scene I was drawing, which was this one. I think she was looking a little bit that way. But here's a couple of steps up to this family plot with grandpa and aunt and uncle and brother and sister or whatever they are. This is that one again, drawing the shadows and the highlights, and by necessity drawing the actual subject. I guess I have to draw the thing. If I'm going to draw the shadow of a thing, I have to draw the thing. But again, it was more about the thing that made me stop was not this monument or the shape of that tombstone or who's buried there. It was the light, sparkling light. So I did those drawings plus this one in 2 hours. Not even that. I sort of started late and ended a little bit early. Hour and a half. So how many drawings did I just show you? I don't care. I draw fast. I draw fast not only because I'm very talented. No, that's not true. I draw fast because I get bored easily. And I draw really, really slow, and it takes me a really, really long time when I have to do a job for a client. In fact, there's a client whose job I've had on my desk for months, and I'm still not done with it. And it's not a very complicated drawing. It's just because he's paying for it, I feel I have to be very careful. Here I made this, I made all sorts of mistakes, but I'm not selling those. Okay, GoRo told me something here. What is it? I brought it's not black paper, it's gray paper, and I knew I wanted to use both white and black Prismacolor. Sometimes I use white with black or dark ink or pencils, or sometimes I use black paper with white or lighter pencils. I knew that today I wanted to do what I did. So let me show you some of the things I did in earlier visits to that place. And I'll start with one of the first ones I went to. Was I brought my iPad. Turn this off. I brought my iPad, and I just bought an iPad, and I just started using this app called Sketch Club, and I was using this tool called that they have called Vector. Let me just show you how that works. Chlorophyll. I'm showing you this one just for a particular reason. I'm going to make an X, and I use a pencil, but I don't have that with me, so I'm just going to draw it here using. So what? Oh, sorry, I forgot what I was drawing. X. It allows me to pull in big shapes of color, just make drawing shapes rather than a brush filling in a shape. I just make a shape by doing that, and it fills in completely, and it's quite fun. So I can draw I can draw very fast here too. So now let me go back to start changes. Let me go back to what I was going to show you. So what I did was I walked through the cemetery, and I found an A, and I drew an A. So here's there's a V here and an A and an N, so it was Vandervelt or Van Gogh or Van something. Van was part of the name carved on a tombstone. And here you see some green lichen that's growing on the tombstone as well. So this is probably, this height. Maybe the letter was that big. Some of these tombs are pretty large. So there's A. What comes after A, do you think? B. So here's a different B from a different tombstone. I think this is supposed to be sort of carved flowers or a wreath or something. So something dot Bangkok, maybe band. Who knows what it was? Here's a C, A, B, C, D. Nice Germanic D. E. This orange bit is a leaf. This is a flat tombstone, and that's a leaf. F, more lichen over here. G, this was a patinaed copper plaque like thing. Here's the screw holding the plaque into the stone. G, E, F, G. Did I forget H? Damn it, I didn't even realize that. I forgot H. There's an I. J, another plaque. K, this was very lichen-y. L, this is a raised letter rather than a carved letter. M, more leaves. N, another copper N. O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. Oh, okay, here's a movie of how I made it. Didn't realize I had. So here you see me making the letters and how I built the alphabet. And I can't believe I forgot. Oh, there's H. I do have H. I just didn't save it. So there's the H. It's very hard to see. I, JKLMNOPQRSTUVW. Then what happened? I ran out of power in my iPad. Okay. I didn't forget H. I just forgot to save it as a photo. Okay, let's go back to drawing with pencils. I must admit that I did cheat with the letter Q because I was coming up to that and I could see the power draining out of my iPad. So I just found an O and I made a Q. There are a lot of Qs, you know, Quigleys and Quakers and Quinces, and but there weren't, I didn't see any at the time and I was running out of juice. So I stopped at W, missing X, Y, and Z. I almost started doing that with pen and ink yesterday, just walking around doing an alphabet. That'll be another time. Okay, back to some more drawings. And these are not going to be in any particular order. I'll save these for a little bit later, just because they're in a group. So here I brought sepia tone ink. Why did I use sepia that day? I'm not quite sure. But I did. Another time I brought pen and ink. This is earlier this year, I think, and water, where I could add water. I think I did bring actual gray or made gray. Oh, this one right here. This, and this is the same scene. And this little tiny one here. Oops. And these are the two that are here. Except the light, the light had changed so that these were illuminated when I drew this picture. And here's this thing here is the side of this. And remember I was also standing when I did this one, and I was sitting down when I was doing this one. So that's why the perspective is off. But these two are a pair. Other ones. Oh, you'll see this. This is the same. This is one of these. Unless they ordered this. No, they ordered the same tombstone from the same style. I want that style. Style 25B. This one, there's a huge church which was being repointed. So all of these things, this is the scaffolding. They had scaffolding all around this big chapel. So those aren't tombstone spires. Those are part of the construction company. And here's this is a fence, construction fence. Okay. My wife. My mistress, my other mistress. I wonder if Mrs. Trump has one of these. My second wife on her tombstone in the thing. This is another cute one. Father, mother. I like those that sort of tell a story. There was one father, mother, baby. And you don't know who they are. You don't know their name. It isn't important. They're dead. Then I went in, I brought with me I bought at some point a bunch of these photo cabinet cards. Used to buy these, and you'd put your picture of your mother or wife or whatever, and you'd have these, you'd fold them like this and have them stand up, you know, on your desk or your bedside table or whatever. These are called cabinet cards. So I thought, well, I'm going to use these to do drawings at the cemetery on. So I did this. I brought these things along, and I chose, not so much in this case, maybe this little curlicue up here look like the curlicues here. I did sometimes choose them to fit the frame. Not this time particularly. This one, maybe not. I don't know. Some of them are more ornate than others. Some are sort of Art Deco. Well, here's that drawing again. Where did it go? The one I did yesterday is the same three things that I did here. So now we'll go back to another day at here's another visit done on my iPad this time, of the environs. So you clearly see a cemetery. And I bet if you wait 1-2 minutes, I can show you others. So maybe I should have entitled this "Drawing with Dead People's Pens." All of the pens that I own, with the exception of maybe 5, were, the original owner is dead. So let's see if I can find here. Sketch Club. No, I want photos. Life drawing, Faces in the Fog, Mount Auburn Cemetery. Here we go again. So here's, turn this off. Oh, thank you, Carson. So here's another tombstone. This time, I love that little line that went diagonally across, and that's a shadow of a branch of a tree, I suspect. It's like cross out dead. Another little family, mom and dad, dad and mom, and their 3 little kids. I love this one. The shadow, the light was hitting hitting the back of these 5 and hitting the front of those 5, and I just like the juxtaposition of the 2 groups. George something, I don't know what. Let's see if I have another of that I did of them. Sketch Club. I never can remember how to find these things here. Mount Auburn. Let me just see. Urban Sketchers, Fogg, Open Studios, Galleria Mall, Charles Fogg Museum, North End Friends Games Public Library, Fogg, Boston Market Mall, Bones, North Station, Instagram. Bones is close. We go to the Harvard Museum of Natural History quite often, and I draw the bones. And the cases, I don't draw just one skeleton. Here, this case had an ape and a human and a different ape, and they were all piled on top of each other. So that's what I was trying to draw. Let me just see here, Sketch Club. Well, okay, come on. Back to gallery, discard changes. I shouldn't have done that. There was one picture, I don't care. I thought I had another thing of that location, but I guess oh, here's one. Okay, here's a drawing I did of that. So there's a tombstone here. I just like the sort of simplicity of this in the front, and the middle ground is more complex, and in the background it's very complex. I like that little transition. And here's my friend Michael Darby. He's an architect that loves to draw with me, and he's sitting on a chair here drawing this big churchy thing, and I'm behind him drawing the big churchy thing in the distance. Where is this, I wonder? Not there. When I go to these places, because I've been to them numerous times with other groups, I sometimes forget. The hell is this one? Oh, I remember what this is. Okay, well, let me turn the light back on here. Hold on, let me get the light. Ah. I did get your email by chance, and I thought I responded to it by chance. Do I map up my strokes? In my brain, I might figure out what I'll do. And sometimes, let's say I'm drawing this scene, the 3 things together. This is how I might have drawn it in pen and ink. I can't remember because I mean, I tried to draw it yesterday again. I think yesterday I started with the little one, and I sort of in my head I knew that I was going to be dividing the thing into 3 parts: little, big, big. So I think I didn't draw those lines, but in my mind I thought of those lines because I was drawing 3 things and they were roughly divided equally in the page. If it was drawing this thing instead, I might have sort of drawn very lightly a few things just to get me on the page correctly. And I do remember how I drew this one and how wrong I was. You know, I think in reality, I ended up making this vase in the middle a lot bigger because I wasn't measuring correctly, or I made something was too small. So I sort of go all over the place. If I'm, you know, it might have been that white, that little white, that little white, that little white, and then I get the black pencil out and I draw a couple of black lines, and I go back to the white pencil and I draw that, and I don't start at the top and work my way down. There was a guy that I saw doing a drawing, this very complicated drawing of a cathedral, and he was like an inkjet printer. He started here, drew this, and then moved this way, drew this, and by the time he never went back, he only went this way. He, whatever he had to draw in this tiny centimeter of space, he drew. Then he went to the next centimeter of space, and it was this colored drawing, beautiful, beautiful drawing of a cathedral, done in at least 10 different colors of pencil, but that's how he drew it. I imagine this is how I imagine he would eat at a restaurant. He would use his plate. Maybe he would start on the edge and go clockwise, eating, you know, the pea, the little piece of meat that's here, a little bit of mashed potato that's here, and then work all the way around, and then work inward. Some more peas, some more pork chop, some more mashed potatoes, a couple more peas. I think that's how he would eat. That's not how I eat. But we both eat everything that's served us. So anyone else have any questions here? Well, the email was about wanting to buy a pen from me, I think. And I thought that I had responded. Maybe I just thought I responded. Was that it, or did you write a different email? Sent. Hi, come on in. Sorry. That's okay. I'm just doing a live video here, so don't worry. You're not interrupting. Is that the leftover food you're giving me? I'm recording a drawing, a thing for YouTube. That's okay. Don't worry about it. They're used to the cat and Matt stuff, so it's fine. Don't worry. Thank you. Did you bring your piece in the gallery yet? No. Not yet. Okay. Well, you've got many days to do that. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I have generous neighbors. Ellen is a very talented artist who's artwork that she produces is among the most cerebral of people in my building. You look at the artwork, and it might be pretty, generally is attractive. You don't quite know all of it yet, but you read the label, Ellen Young, title, medium, and the medium or the description of how the piece was made is more the art. Like you won't understand what you're looking at until you realize how it was made. And anyway, she had parents that would get Meals on Wheels, and they were pickier eaters than the Meals on Wheels chefs figured. So there was lots of Meals on Wheels that she would give me, and I would accept. So she was at some party, and there's a bunch of pastries here that she just gave me. So I've got my breakfast already. So I did not send you an email. I thought I had. So anyway, back to this, and then I will stop this video and maybe talk about other kinds of videos. So if any of you people that are listening to me right now like to draw with your pens or your pencils or your iPad, and you live in kind of a big city, or live near a big city and are willing to drive to that big city on a weekend, look on Safari, type in Urban Sketchers Toronto, Urban Sketchers New York, Urban Sketchers Poughkeepsie, Urban Sketchers Miami, and you might find that they have an Urban Sketchers group, and you'll probably find when and where they will next meet. And you put on your shoes and sharpen your pencils, fill your pens, take your paper, and go to that place, and you'll have a lot of fun. I wish the organization had a website that you could access that would list all of the chapters alphabetically, so you could find easily whether your town has one, and you'd also find easily where they are going to be meeting up. Right now, the way you learn about your group, your chapter, is either through Facebook or Instagram. And there's a lot of people out there in the world that don't like Facebook or Instagram for lots of good reasons. You can still search Safari Urban Sketchers Boston, and you can click on that, and it'll bring you to the Facebook page, and you can read what is posted there using Safari. You don't have to be a member of Facebook to see a Facebook page. And just go there, go to one of these things. Today, or yesterday rather, when we were there at Mount Auburn, there was this other guy sketching, and he was sitting down at the location where we were meant to all come back. We meet at one location, and then we draw for 2 hours and come back at that location to show each other what we did. And this guy was sitting there drawing on a sketchbook, and someone I had never seen before in the group, but he was there. I assumed he was waiting for us. Well, he's in a different group. He's in the plein air sketching group. And I didn't know that that existed. He didn't know that we existed. And we were sort of dueling groups. The plein air group, plein air means, it means two things. In the open, and it also means to do a painting or drawing in one sitting. You don't start it outside and finish it inside. You don't take a picture and do it all inside from a photograph. You're meant to be out there in the open air, and you're meant to do the drawing in one go. Whether it be 2 hours or 3 hours, you're meant to stay right there and finish it. And that's what we do for the most part in our group. So I said, what? And he said, we meet sometimes 2 times a week, and we meet every week of the year and all year long. And I said, well, how can you be plein airing when you're in the middle of wintertime? Do you go outside? Oh, no, we go inside. We draw the interiors of a coffee shop or something. And so that's what we also do. We try to be outside if we can, if it's a nice day. Otherwise, we move indoors. So this might have been the last time we really expected to be outside, because now it's November and things will start getting cold. So we'll start moving back indoors. So let me see. Any last words here? Okay. Well, I'm going to now say goodbye, and I'll talk to you later. I'll send you an email, Goro, in a minute. Bye, everyone.